What is up, guys? It is the AFL Yank back here again for another tipping video. We are going to be I'm going to be making my round 17 tips. I'll do some quick analysis of round 16 and all that goodness. And if you can hear in the background, those are some fireworks going off. Of course, to my fellow American audience, happy 4th of July, happy Independence Day. I'm filming this around 9:30. So yeah, and I should hopefully put this video out, well, it's going to be July 5th, obviously, over in Australia, but still, it's July 4th over here in the States. Some celebration going on and all that goodness, but yeah. So yeah, here were my tips. I tipped ended up tipping the Richmond Tigers to beat Gold Coast, did not happen. I ended up getting 6 out of 9 correct. I got 6 out of 9 tips right. But yeah, Tigers ended up failing to beat the Suns. The Gold Coast Suns got a massive win at Marvel. And the Tigers have fallen back to 9th. They are once again now 9th men. I will say this though. Congratulations to the Gold Coast Suns. They definitely deserve some props for that big win. The Suns were just absolutely on their A game against the Tigers. Just a marvelous performance against them. Like, I know it was close, but it was a really damn good performance. They had a lot of gutsiness in them. Just a lot of gutsiness in them. They just fought hard. And you gotta give them credit. It's definitely heartwarming to see the Suns get a big win like this, but yeah. And then next, GMHBA, Geelong versus Essendon. Of course, the Bombers had a massive lead against the Cats early on. However, the Cats came yelling back into the competition and just utterly dominated against the Bombers throughout the second half. And yet, still with all that, Darcy Parish still keeps winning awards. Darcy Parish is just winning basically every award of like any clash that the Tigers are involved in pretty much, and it's honestly kind of hilarious, but yeah. Cats once again remaining dominant at the Cattery. Big win for them at GMHBA. Definitely some great advantage. And then the next game I got wrong was Melbourne versus GWS. I tipped the D's to win, and the Giants got a really feel-good win for them. A 9-point win for the Giants, and just like that, with how poor the Tigers have been, the Giants are now in the top 8, which honestly a lot of people did not really expect them to make it back into the 8 this year. They had a really bad down year last year, and a lot of people had actually expected them to fall with their massive losses, the most notable, of course, being Jeremy Cameron. But yeah, they're actually in pretty good hands right now, and they possibly have a good shot at making finals this year. But yeah. Honestly, I do not know what happened to the Tigers. My goodness, they just have fallen off a cliff. It's just brutal. But yeah. And then the next game I tipped Brisbane to beat Adelaide. And the Lions, a massive win for them. A massive win for the Lions. A 52-point win. I think it's the second biggest winning margin this round. Just a massive win overall. But yeah, just a massive win overall by the Brisbane Lions. They're continuing to play on their A game, and yeah, the Crom, unfortunately, the Crows are definitely they're really good. They got a lot of promise, but they're just not on that level yet. Like, they're just not a final side quite yet. They still got a few things to progress, but I mean, the Crows, they're definitely on the up. They could possibly make a run for finals next year, potentially. They could be a dark horse. But yeah, nonetheless, the Crows, their magic's slowly running out. They are falling back into the bottom 4. But they've had some good moments this season. They've had some pretty big moments here and there. But yeah. And then next, Freo facing against Carlton. I tipped the Dockers. I tipped Freo, but yeah, Carlton, they have definitely woken up. The Blues have finally found some answers, and they're actually looking pretty promising. I don't know about finals this year for the Blues. They possibly could turn things around with Teague. They have definitely, pressed the alert. They've gotten the cautions and stuff, and they finally have responded well, which is good to see. But yeah, the Blues definitely have been pretty good they've actually been pretty solid as of late. I don't know, finals good, but they definitely they could make a run. They definitely could at least finish top 12 at the least, potentially. But yeah, good win for the Blues against the Dockers at MCG and all that goodness. And then at Marvel, Hawthorn versus Port. An absolute disaster. Well, of course, Sean Burgoyne celebrated game number 400. Congratulations to him. But yeah, unfortunately, Port continuing to show their dominance. They just destroyed. Even with the performance by Hawthorn, it just was not enough. The inexperience has shown for the Hawks pretty much this whole season. But yeah, Port with a massive win against the Hawks. A 34-point win. It was just not enough for the Hawks. Even with Burgoyne in game 400, it just, I figured that Port would win that game. Just, the Hawks just don't have that much firepower like they did years ago in their, peak. The 4-peat. When the 3-peat happened, obviously. Obviously when the 3-peat occurred. Back in, 2013 through 2015. That was when they were at their peak. But yeah, that peak is past. They're trying to blood in some kids. But yeah, still, great win by Port. They're continuing to show their dominance. And, all that goodness. And then, of course, at GMHBA, the Swannies' temporary home, as the lockdown occurs in New South Wales. What a win by the Swannies against the West Coast Eagles. Just an absolutely thrilling win. Just overall fantastic teamwork by the Swans. You just love to see it. Just all that teamwork they did was just brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant. The handball movement, the strategies used, that Horse formed in game number 250 as coach, were just brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant. And with how impressive that performance was against the Eagles, and it's also our biggest winning margin by far this season so far, a 92-point winning margin. We had a couple, we potentially, if we had just honestly, you expect him to get off the gas, obviously, but yeah. What a win by the Swans. A massive 92-point win in the Cattery. The Eagles continuing to just get their asses whipped at the Cattery. But yeah, what a game. Just, it's great to see. It's great to see the South supporters, support the Swans, obviously. It's great to see. Great to see the massive, Victorian supporter crowd. And also, I will definitely say this. Jewel Marty he's a star. Jewel Marty is a star. He's going to be key in our next premiership for sure. And all that goodness. It was great to see Buddy dominate 3 goals, and he booted 3 goals, including a thrilling goal in the first quarter. Including some pretty thrilling goals in that. As well as some pretty thrilling goals in yesterday's game as well. But yeah, just a fantastic performance all around by the Swans. It's just amazing to watch, and it was so satisfying. It was just absolutely satisfying to watch yesterday. Just everything clicked, and it just felt amazing. It just felt amazing to see the Swans perform like that. I seriously think that mentality and unselfishness is back. From the mentality and unselfishness seen in the first 3 rounds, it's back, baby, and even stronger. And honestly, I'm really confident in the Swans heading in the next couple weeks. I feel like we could definitely turn a lot of heads in the coming weeks. even if we do obviously miss out on top four, which is possibly likely, I think we could definitely pull some upsets here. I'm confident about us winning a finals match at least, and hell, maybe we can even get to the grand final. There have been a couple teams that have been outside the top four that have done it, that have made it to the grand final course. Obviously, you got the 2016 Dogs, and also, of course, GWS in 2019, although they ended up getting thrashed by Richmond in the grand final. But yeah, really confident in the Swans heading into the next couple of rounds. Just that performance alone, it was just superb. Just absolutely superb. Just flexed our muscle. We just ended up flexing our muscles all across the Eagle, like in the Eagles' face. And I'm hoping we keep that up in the next couple of rounds. It would just be flat out amazing. And yeah, all that great. And all that goodness, of course. Also, it's great to see Nick Blakey play really well. It's great to see him actually play well. Robbie Fox did really good too. James Bell, he had his moments, although I feel like Braden Campbell we could probably plug in Braden Campbell in a spot. And of course, you got to give props to Justin McInerney. He was just a speed demon all across the midfield. Just brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant. Heaney and Papley also were great. It was all around great. Mills, great movement. Displayed many disposals. Caddy did some great. Of course, Caddy did his thing too. Just an all-around great performance by the Swannies overall. Just everyone, all the main players, all 18 players, pretty much. Hickey obviously too. He was great. Just fantastic rucking. Golden was great as well. And it was great to see Sam Wicks dominate and Sam Wicks felt really energized coming back from the suspension. Like, Wicks was just energized. And yeah, it was great. But yeah, nonetheless, gotta settle down at the Swans talk there so we can get to the other games. So yeah, St. Kilda, massive win against the Pies. They were up big, and then the Pies had a late surge, and yeah, the Saints were able to hang on there. The Pies have been very unlucky with Robert Harvey as their interim coach now with the departure of Buckley. But yeah, big win for the Saints. They've had some pretty big wins as of late. Of course, last round they beat the Tigers by 40. But still, I don't think it's going to get them to finals. Like, I think St. Kilda will probably fall short. But who knows? Maybe things could turn around for them in 2022. But yeah. And then finally, at Marvel, Western Bulldogs versus North Melbourne. Big win by the Dogs. It was a 29-point win for the Dogs. Just once again, like, one of their usual dominant performances as always. They did have a late scare, though, with Aaron Naughton going down, which is pretty unfortunate. And honestly, pretty beneficial to the Swans, honestly. Very beneficial. But yeah, big win for the Dogs regardless. And now, this is where the beginning of the time slot begins. You could basically skip to this if you're using the, if you're trying to skip to a certain portion, obviously. A little bit of a, well, it's not really a fourth wall break, obviously, but yeah. Alright, nonetheless, let's get to round 17 and start these damn tips. So, here we go. Adelaide Oval, Port versus Melbourne. The Power coming off a big win coming off that huge win against Hawthorn. And Melbourne obviously coming off the loss against GWS. This is going to be the first time since probably the round when, well, I'm talking about obviously, round 8 when the Swans faced Melbourne. This is going to be the first time where I actually tip against Port. Well, I tip against the D's. I'm going to go with Port to win this game. I feel really confident about their chances. I mean, the D's have just been in a downward spiral as of late, honestly. And you kind of expect it from them. I mean, teams will evidently lose that energy. They'll have a few losing. They might have a losing streak here and there, but yeah, I think Port's going to be more prepared, especially with them playing at Adelaide Oval. Or I don't know if they are going to be playing at Adelaide Oval because obviously footy is basically exclusive to Victoria now. But yeah. But wherever it's played, I am relatively confident in Port. I think they could get the job done. And all that goodness. So yeah, could tip Port to win this game. And yeah. Now let's get to the next game. Brisbane Lions versus St. Kilda. I'm relatively confident in the Lions heading into this game wherever it's played, probably in Victoria, probably either at MCG or Marvel, or hell, even the Cattery, although I don't know about that. But yeah, relatively confident in the Lions beating the Saints. I mean, St. Kilda, they've had a recent streak of winning as of late, but I just think it's not going to be enough to get over the Lions. The Lions have just been super dominant this season, and I'm relatively confident in that. So yeah. And next, it's Carlton versus Geelong, potentially at the which will most likely be held at the MCG. This is of course, if you are wondering, these are Fridays. Oh, are these games even scheduled yet? Oh my goodness. Look at how many games there are on Friday. Dang. Yeah. But yeah, these are obviously Saturday's matchups. They've not really scheduled these games yet, but yeah. Saturday's matchups, obviously. Relatively confident here. I'm clear to say that the Cats will certainly get the job done against the Blues. I mean, Carlton, they've been really good as of late, but I just think the Cats are just the better side overall. They're just the more experienced side, and I think they'll have the ability to get the job done and all that goodness. But yeah. And the next, Essendon versus Adelaide. This is definitely going to be a really interesting matchup. Of course, the Bombers, they're coming off a very tough loss. They're coming off the really close loss against, oh my god. Yeah, they're coming off a really close loss against, oh my god. But yeah, they're coming off the close loss against, alright, frick it. I'm just going to look at for just the hell of it, I'm just going to look at the previous game that they played. Yeah, they're coming off the big loss against the Cats. They're coming off that big 41-point loss to the Cats. And, of course, the Crows, they're coming off a huge loss to the Lions, 52 points. I'm actually going to go safe here. I am actually going to tip Essendon here. I feel like the Bombers are going to be the more prepared side. I feel like they're, young talent, of Nick Cox and obviously, the depth with Anthony McDonald, Tipperwoody, and of course Darcy, and obviously the medal winner, the man who keeps winning all the medals, and Darcy Parish. I feel like the Bombers will be more prepared against the Crows. Sorry, Crom. But yeah, gonna go with the Bombers to win here. And the next, it is GWS versus Gold Coast. Although it's obviously unknown where it's gonna be, since frickin' AFL tipping hasn't updated yet. It usually updates, I believe, like the day after. So yeah, I'm actually gonna go. But yeah, both teams. Well, the Suns coming off that huge win against the Tigers, and the Giants coming off a massive win. And the Giants, of course, coming off that massive... Well, they're coming off a big loss against... now, they're coming off a big win against the D's, obviously. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my God. Why do I keep forgetting? But, yeah, the Giants, they're coming off the big win against the D's, and I feel like they're going to be the more motivated team. Going to go off the Giants to win this game. And they continue their path of making finals and all that. And, yeah... And the next, it's Hawthorn versus Frio. This one's going to be a really interesting game. I know this game was supposed to be set in I know this game was supposed to be held in Tasmania, but now, with the protocols and stuff, it's unsure it's going to be played, honestly. But if it does get hosted in Tasmania, I'll go with the Hawks. But yeah, if it is in Victoria, I'm actually going to go Frio, and I feel like the latter will most likely happen. I'm actually going to go with the Dockers to win. The Hawks definitely have had some key moments here and there. They had that late streak where they beat both Sydney clubs. But with just how they performed against Port, I'm just not really confident in them heading into this round. See, I'm going to go Frio to win. If it is held in Victoria, I'm going to go for Frio to win. I feel like they could get the job done. And yeah, all that goodness. And the next, most likely going to be held at the MCG, it is the Richmond Tigers versus Collingwood. The Pies, they've had some very close losses as of late. Well, I wouldn't say very close losses, but they've had some tight losses as of late. Some pretty tough losses. And I feel like the same thing will happen. I know the Tigers, they've been on a very sloping streak as of late, but I think they'll get the win. I think they'll finally get a win here. Relatively confident with how poor the Pies have been. It'll probably be a really close game, admittedly. And yeah. And the next, this game will be held at Marvel, the Western Bulldogs versus my Swannies. I'm just going to say to hell with it. I'm going to go with the Swannies to win this game. I'm just super confident. I feel like we could keep that energy that was seen. I feel like the Eagles game it's definitely a confidence booster for us. I feel like it could definitely boost our confidence heading into the next couple of rounds. And plus we got, the returns of Campbell, most likely a return of McDonald, as well as the return of Warner and most likely Sam Reed too. Like, with them returning, it's definitely going to boost our chances too. Like, if we keep up the performance we had against the Eagles, which I feel like we definitely can for sure, since we're a very passionate side and got a lot of youth, and we got a lot of passionate players who always hope for the best. Like, if we just keep that mentality and unselfishness and have the heart and passion, I feel like we could definitely turn some heads. We could definitely make a huge run. I feel like we could potentially make a deep run, potentially. Although, hey, it could be just optimistic me, but it could happen. Anything could happen. So yeah, for the hell of it, I'm gonna go with the Swans to tip. I'm gonna tip the Swans against the Dogs just for the hell of it. But yeah, like I'm just a believer, man. I just hope for the best. When the Swans win big, I just hope for the best. And also, we could see a debut of Robbie Gold. Not Robbie Gold. Oh my God. I meant Will Gold, but yeah. We could see a potential return for Will Gold. Oh my God, potential return. Ugh, I'm mixing my words, my goodness. Alright. But yeah, we could look for... But yeah, we could potentially see a potential debut of Will Gold. With how well he performed on the VFL side. Like, he did really strong against the... He did really well on the VFL side. And I feel like he could definitely be closer to making his debut. But I think it's going to be really hard with how, the team overall, with how everybody basically performed incredibly well. Like, I think it's going to be pretty hard to make some to make some changes, honestly. Like, I feel like the lineup we have, although we could see a return, I feel like Bell might get subbed out, maybe a few swaps. There could be at least one swap of a player because of, potential return from injury. But yeah, I feel like, I'm super confident heading into this round. Really confident. Just super confident. I'm just hoping all for the best and all that goodness. But yeah, nonetheless, going Swannies to beat the Dogs. And now, final game of the round, West Coast versus North. Obviously going to go with the Eagles to win here. I mean, with how poor they were against us, I just feel like it. Well, I don't know about them playing the game in Western Australia, but I feel like facing North, most likely at Marvel. I feel like they could there's no way they could lose to the Roos. Even if they play at their worst, I feel like West Coast could definitely win big against the Roos. Well, not big marginally, but at least win by maybe 30 points at the least. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Eagles to win. And with that, those are my tips. And my freaking cursor's broken. But yeah, now it's time for the scoring predictions using Squiggle. Here we go. Port versus Melbourne. Gonna go with I'm actually gonna make a quick just quickly refresh. Alright. It is projected to be at Adelaide Oval, which is pretty interesting. So yeah, who knows? Maybe everything gets worked out with. But yeah. So yeah, D's versus Port. This is honestly going to be a pretty tight game. I'll say it goes down to the wire. Well, let me check. Shoot, what did I tip the game by? Yep. Alright, so I'm going to go by, what I tipped the game by. I'm going to say 7 points. It could go either way. I feel like Port is the better side right now against, compared to the D's. I feel like I just feel like Port, they're more on the hot. They're on the hot seat right now. They're just, the team that's, they're just the team with more momentum as of right now. But yeah. All right, Lions versus St. Kilda. It's gonna be interesting to find out, where these games are gonna be held. But I think restrictions might be getting lighter. I feel like conditions might be getting better, so we'll see what happens and all that. So, yeah. Lions versus St. Kilda. I feel like the Saints, they might have an interesting performance, but even with that, I think the Lions are just going to be too strong. I'm just really confident in them. Carlton versus Geelong. I'm going to go with the Cats to win this one. I know the Blues, they're coming off that big win against GWS. No, oh my God, GWS. They're coming off that big win against Freo, and I feel like they could stay in the game, but I just think the Cats are going to be the better side. So I'm going to go with the Cats to win by 22. Essendon versus Adelaide. It's set to be... Well, alright, yeah. It's set to be hosted most likely in probably Marvel. So yeah, Bombers versus Crows. This one could be a really interesting game, but I just think the Bombers will be the better side. I feel like they could definitely win this game over the Crows. And yeah, all that goodness. GWS versus Gold Coast. The Giants, they've been on a very much hot streak as of late. And with that, I'm relatively confident in them winning this game. I mean, the Suns, they've actually been all right at points, but I just think their inconsistency will show. And with that, I'm gonna go with the Giants to win this game by 27. And with that, the Eagles fall to 8th according to the ladder right now. Hawthorn versus Freo. And, yeah, game is still set to be hosted at UTAS, which is interesting. So, yeah, maybe the game is, if anyone could, make a comment just saying, if, are the games still being, is there going to still be travel, or are all the games going to be just hosted in Victoria? Just to get some better context, but, yeah. So, yeah, if it is hosted in Tasmania, I might change my plans and tip Hawthorn. But for the moment, I'm actually going to tip Freo at the moment. I'll say Freo just wins by a goal in this case. But, yeah. It'll be a tight game. I mean, I think it'll definitely be a tight game. And then Richmond versus Collingwood, set to be at the MCG. I'm relatively confident here. I feel like the Tigers. Well, actually, I think this will be a close game, but I think the Tigers will close it out. 13-point win for Richmond, and just like that, they're back in the 8th according to this ranking. Well, it basically all depends of where, whether if West Coast. We'll obviously have West Coast winning, so yeah. Then Dogs versus Swans. Biggest upset of the round here, possibly the biggest upset of the year. I'm gonna go Swans by 10. I'm just super confident right now in the Swannies. Just really confident. And then West Coast versus North. I'm just going to say the heck with it. Eagles win by 25. They win by 25. I'll just say to hell of it. But yeah. So yeah, that's my tips. Got the Dogs in first. But yeah, got the Dogs in first at 12-4. Lions in second at 12-4. D's in third at 12-4. Cats in fourth at 12-4. And then Port in fifth at 12-4. Then the Swannies in sixth at 10-6. Eagles in seventh at 9-7. And the Giants in eighth at 8-7-1. And then we got Ninthman in ninth. We got Ninthman in the rich spot at 8-8. Frio in 10th at 8-8. Essendon in 11th at 7-9. St. Kilda in 12th at the Jeff Fisher number, of course, 7-9. Carlton in 13th at 6-10. Gold Coast in 14th at 5-11. The Crum in 15th at 5-11. The Pies in 16th at 4-12. Hawthorn in 17th at 4-12. And North Melbourne in 18th. The obvious Wooded Spooners at 12-13-1. So yeah. And I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I hope all of you, obviously leave a comment, like, subscribe to my channel. I'm just hoping that all of you enjoyed this video. Don't really have that much closing words, honestly. I don't really have that much closing words, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is the AFL Yank signing out. And of course, Car and the Mighty Swannies.